This week, we reveal the secret to successful niching for photographers in commercial photography. We're talking about how to use specialisation as a marketing strategy to reduce competition, raise your prices, while still accepting other work.
Welcome to Commercial Photographer, your guide to marketing, creativity, and growth. This is a podcast that helps commercial, brand, and headshot photographers navigate the competitive world of commercial photography with actionable strategies to grow your business.
Well, hello there, Sam. How you doing?
Very good, Marcus. How about you?
Oh, I am very well, thank you. Very well indeed. And today, on today's show, we have a guest, Sam. We've got a fellow photographer. Yeah, we've got a fellow photographer, Dan Barker from Dan Barker Studios.
Today, Dan's going to share 3 things that you'll learn about his journey in industrial photography. First, you'll discover the secret that allows you to niche your commercial photography marketing while keeping a broad spread of income. Secondly, you'll hear how Dan structures his website and his about page to instantly connect with and attract high-value commercial photographer clients. And finally, you'll learn why being a specialist allows you to charge premium prices, transforming your business growth strategies.
Dan, tell us how it is.
Hello, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm very
good.
well,
how about you?
Things are good.
Excellent. Do you want to introduce yourself then, Dan?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Dan Barker. My business is Dan Barker Studios. I'm based in Ledbury in Herefordshire, so about an hour away from you, Marcus, I think.
Yeah.
I specialise in industrial photography and video production. My background's actually in aerospace engineering, so I studied mechanical engineering at university. Did that for 13 years. Always wanted to run my own business. Discovered photography, picked that up, thought that was a lot more fun, and worked for several years to learn and get to the point where I had some clients. And and then finally was able to, I went part-time with my engineering work for about a year, and then jumped in full-time to the photography beginning of September 2018. Yeah.
And not look back?
We first... Yeah, we're a long way back. And we first met, didn't we, Dan? I think because through Jeff Brown, wasn't it, one of our regular guests on the show? I think we met through his program, or we were in his Facebook group or something.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that rings a bell. I think I did a bit of work with Jeff. 2018 probably. So it would have been when we came onto each other's radars.
So if I remember correctly, you basically got your studio set up quite early, didn't you, in your career, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I had a bit of luck, if that's what it is, or I put myself in the right place for a bit of luck. But yeah, when I was first getting going, actually up here where I am now, my friends had a space that where they did screen printing, and this was like a shared space. So they did screen printing in half of it. There was a ceramicist. There was someone that kept a collection of cinema stuff, equipment, and films and everything. And we didn't have much space at home at the time, so I used to come and perch on the end of their table and do some work, build my website and things like that. And then one of the spaces came available. The ceramicist, she moved out, so I took that on. And it wasn't very much money at the time. I think it was like 160 quid a month or something. So
great.
It was doable, just to have a bit of space to work from. And then gradually over the years, the screen printing guys moved out, so I sort of took on 3/4 of the space, and then the other guy moved out, and now I've got all this space up.
Amazing. And then you've mentioned the website there, and there's a couple of things on your website I wanted to talk about, because it's quite interesting and different to a few people's in a couple of ways. And first of all, I love the call to action on your website. Apply to work with us. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I like it. My new web developers don't like it, so I'm actually having a new site developed at the moment, and I've taken that off, unfortunately. So,
okay.
They felt like sounded like it was applied to work for us kind of thing. So I don't know. I might change it back in the future, because it's good to get your feedback on it, actually. Because it was what was the book? It was Book Solid, I think. The author. And he sort of talks about, putting up a red velvet rope, to make sure that you're working with the right people, and that's where it came from, really.
Yeah, and it gives that impression, does it? I am so popular, I am so busy. You've got to apply. You might have to join a waiting list, but you want to do it. It's not like desperately. It's not like let's make it as easy as possible. Let's get it. It's like, right, I'm so busy. I can wait. You got to apply. Yeah, it's
that was the idea. Yeah, so whether it works or not, I don't know.
And then the other one on there was the about page. Now I'm always talking about about pages with people and going, oh my god, you're boring people with your endless history about yourself and the fact that you got a camera when you were 7 and yada 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 yada. But your about page is brilliant. So your about page you've completely turned on its head, haven't you?
Yeah, that was exactly the idea, because I was exactly the same as you. Like, no one cares that you were born with clutching a camera and stuff, and that you did this and that you did that, and you've always loved it. They want to know, I think, if you can solve their problem, and a bit further down the line, they might like to know a bit about you. But I think to begin with, it's got to be about them. So that's why I did that.
Yeah. So Dan's about page is about the visitor, not about him at all. Completely turned on its head, which I think is brilliant. Yeah, really interesting. And then
thanks. So again, with the new site, sorry.
Go on,
I was just going to say, with the new site that might be out by the time this comes out, they've tempered it a little bit, but I tried to keep it in the same vein.
Yeah.
Cool.
Excellent.
And so you come from a technical background, an engineering background, as you mentioned, Dan. So obviously that's the side of that photography appealed to you. Is that why do you think you got into video quite early on, because of your sort of joy of tech, as it were?
No, I think the video came along just through demand, really. It was like someone said to me, maybe you should have a go at doing some video. And actually, I don't shoot myself a lot of video. I generally bring people in, work with freelancers on the video side of things, and I always have done from the beginning, just on the basis that I didn't have the capacity. At the time I brought video in, I was still working at least 3 days a week in my engineering job, and trying to build the photography. So I've always approached video from that side of things, where I'm more of a producer, maybe sort of creative director type role, I suppose, and work with someone to do the video side of things.
So you're coming up with the ideas and chatting with the clients, but are you just getting in a cameraman and there you're editing, or are they kind of also putting the film together?
Yeah, they'll usually edit as well. Yeah, if there's small bits and pieces, I might jump on and do a bit, but on the whole, I'm working with them in that way. So, and I had employees for a little while as well. Well, about 3 years I had an employee, but I've gone back to using freelancers now, which is what everyone told me I should do in the first place.
Excellent. So in terms of, if people haven't done that before, can you give them a vague idea of the process? How do you get a freelancer? How does it work? If somebody's thinking, oh, that could be for me, it's a way to expand my business.
I mean, there's tons of them out there. I mean, I happen to know the first guy I worked with, I knew through a family friend contact. And I saw he was doing some cool stuff on his social media. So just contacted him and said, look, do you want to work on these projects? And we sort of built it together. But I mean, there's tons of them out there. I guess for me, LinkedIn's my sort of go-to social media. So I would find people on there and now have a good number of connections on there. And then in terms of the process, I mean, you just work with them in a sort of open, collaborative way, really. And if you find people that you can work together with, well, obviously that's what you want, where you can bounce ideas and the ideas sort of go up and up like that.
Yeah. And then perfect. And how do you make that work in terms of cost? Because obviously you have to give the client a quote. How do you make that work so you don't end up going, oh, bugger, I've ended up with this videographer and I've got to pay him twice as much as I've charged the client and stuff?
Yeah, so you've got to be careful in terms of estimating your edit time, particularly your edit time on a video project. You've got to get right. So usually, the way it works with any industry, really, I mean, I know when I've had, builders in and people, they'll be bringing subcontractors in and they mark up their time. So I have a day rate that I charge out, and they'll be charging me less than that. So I'll be making a markup on their time during the edit and the shoot and everything. And then also, obviously, if I'm involved on the shoot, which I usually am, then I'm putting in a day rate for myself. And I tend to put in a project management fee as well. So it generally works out okay.
Okay, excellent.
So looking at your photography that you on your website and the stuff that I see you put out on LinkedIn, the style is very, very clean, very beautifully lit, quite dark as well, isn't it? I think that's sort of part of your style, which is very nice. And even looking at you now on your video, you've got a dark background, you're well lit. So that's obviously a style you've got. How do you sort of manage to replicate your photography style with the video style?
That's a good question. I think the thing I learned about style when I was learning about photography and everything was that you've just got to do, and then your style comes through. I don't know if you agree with that, but I sort of, it was like, right, just go and shoot, and gradually you'll start to look back on things and you have a style, rather than trying to force a style or anything. I suppose with the video, I've always known how I kind of want it to look. So I suppose I've influenced, I'm always there on the shoots and everything, so I'm influencing the lighting and everything like that. So I guess that's how it's come through. Yeah, it's a really good question. I've never really thought.
Not something you've thought about consciously, more developed.
Exactly. And he's answered it by saying you just do it, or you've built up your style organically. There's nothing been forced. It's just what you like to see, what you like to shoot, and you just embedded it into your brand.
Yeah, and I suppose you attract people that like similar things as well, don't they? Law of attraction. So yeah, there's a bit of that as well.
Okay, excellent. And then I think niching is a topic we talk about a fair bit on the show, and we're going to come on to your photography community shortly, which is niched, but the business itself is really tightly niched, is it? So you're working with kind of heavy industry type of thing in engineering companies?
Yeah, generally aimed at manufacturers, engineering companies and tech companies, that sort of thing. Okay. And that's very much based on my background, really. It came about because when I was sitting in my engineering job trying to figure out how to make this thing work, I actually put a post up on LinkedIn just asking people what struggles they'd had when booking a commercial photographer, and someone that I didn't know at the time, who I'm actually now really good friends with, just randomly replied and said he was struggling at the time to get someone to photograph some engineering applications because the photographer just didn't quite get the product. And Marcus, probably you can tell when people are really into something from the photos. You get to their portfolio and you go, you're really into food. It sticks out. So yeah, I thought, oh wow, that's interesting, that there might be something I could bring to the table here. But I didn't niche to begin with. Like when I quit my job at that time, I was still very general, doing a bit of everything. And it wasn't until sort of 2019 that I started experimenting with niching. Sort of went down the headshot route to start with, even though I'd already had this conversation about engineering. And and then I decided, right, now I want to go for this. And it was for me, it was a bit of a game changer, really.
Wow. So in terms of what kind of the income for your business and that sort of thing?
Yeah, everything really. Like the clarity that it brought for me as well. When you're doing a bit of everything and you're a generalist, like I found it really hard to decide what to put on my website. It's like, I've done these really cool headshots. Should I put those? I've done these cool products. Should I put that? I've done these cool lifestyle. I really like it. So, and you're like, and you end up not posting anything and not doing anything. And once I was like, right, this is what I'm doing. It's like, okay, it's clear what to put on my website. It's clear what to put on my social media, what to talk about, who to approach. And the other thing I loved about it was, if you go to networking meetings, which I used to, you say to someone, I'm a photographer, and they go, what do you do? And you go, I do some products, I do some headshots, I do a bit of this, bit of that, bit of interiors and stuff. And they go, okay. And that's about it. But when I started going in and saying I'm an industrial photographer and I work with manufacturers, engineering companies, they'd go, I know my mate Bob, he runs a engineering company, I'll introduce you.
That's it.
And then suddenly, people know who to introduce you to and know who to.
Yeah,
I mean, I do
because they've got a smaller number of people, haven't you, instead of a lot. Yeah, if you say I'm a photographer, they think, that's everybody I know might need you. Well, if you go, you need to, if they can narrow it down to 2 people, they can give you their contact details.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when people say, I work for SMEs, that's my niche, and you go, and then you find out that 99% of all businesses in the UK are SMEs. It's very difficult to know who your ideal client is.
I mean, I totally get what you're saying, and obviously we're all really, proponents of the niching down. I've got my branding photography. Sam's got his websites for photographers. You've got your engineering. But if I may just put an argument forward for not niching down, especially in this day and age when maybe work is more scarce, possibly, or maybe there's more competition, there might be something to be said for having a wider spread of income, not just having your eggs in one basket, so to speak. And we have had guests on the show who have actually sort of done that in a very specific way, but have made, that's what they do. They shoot everything. Dan, what do you think about that?
So for me, there's two aspects to that. One is that the secret of niching is that I think you don't have to just do that work. So don't tell anyone, but I shot 2 weddings last year. I shot some tea towels in the studio. I shot some honey, but it doesn't go on my website and my LinkedIn or anything. And then that's the other side of it. It's all about the marketing. It's not about what you actually do. So I think, you said about competition, Marcus, but I think if you're a generalist, you're in competition with all the other generalists out there, which is a lot of people. Anyone that buys a camera from Curry's and starts. But as soon as you're an industrial photographer, a food photographer, whatever photographer, you're suddenly in competition with a lot fewer people. So by niching, you're actually taking yourself out of the vast pot of photographers, and by accepting that you can do other work, you're also sort of, I think, addressing that thing that people say that, I need to be able to do lots of different work. Well, you can still do it. It's just that
you don't advertise. You don't advertise it.
Yeah, and also, and some touched on it. It's like, how many clients do you need to have a successful business as well as a photographer? You don't need every single business to want to work with you. So if you can find the niche that's specific, you'll have enough. That there'll be enough people within that, unless you choose, if I'm in Ledbury and I choose, I don't know, something to do with the beach or something like that. It's my
you're a bit too niched. Yes.
Not great. There's not many.
No, I mean, where you are situated, you're near, as you say, you're near Bristol, which is a big tech, big city for tech, and you're sort of based around the area, aren't you? I mean, as you say, that's part defining your niche. Your geography.
Although it's surprising. It surprised me actually, because I thought I'd do a lot more in Bristol and Birmingham and everything, and I'm never there really.
Okay.
What happens is people around here, it turns out there's actually a lot that goes on here, even in Herefordshire, which is very sparsely populated.
You
start to find these amazing manufacturers that are doing things that you had no idea was going on, and they start coming out of the woodwork, if you like, and you're like,
and that's bit as well because you're niche, and they can see what you're a specialist in, aren't they? And I think what linked to what you were saying as well about if you're a generalist, you've got a lot of competition. You've also got an issue with price. If you're a specialist and you're like, I'm one of only 2 people doing this in the area or the country, you can put your prices right up, and you are a specialist and people are paying for your skills. If you're a generalist and I do a bit of weddings and I do a bit of dogs and I do a bit of this, your prices end up being rock bottom, and you're competing with all the other photographers whose prices are rock bottom, and you don't make much money. And it's hard to get out of that without bringing in that niche, bringing in that speciality, being able to charge those higher prices.
Exactly, yeah, that's the other side of it, isn't it? And I think it gives you confidence as well to put your prices up a bit, because, you get to know what the people in your niche need and what the little thing, for me, it's like simple things like I have my own PPE that I'll take to a shoot, so I'm already ready when I get to the factory, and I can ask the right questions, and I can check that people have got the right PPE on in the shoot and everything like that. And people will know all those things for their individual niches and their individual sectors,
Makes total sense.
Okay,
and
let's talk
just one thing quickly, Marcus, linked to that, because we've got the podcast coming up about pricing. So just about that and charge a high in pricing. We do have, not a podcast, webinar coming up. 2nd of April, we have Shoot to the Top webinar about charging higher prices, and that's just like we're talking about there. Details in the show notes. Sorry, Marcus, carry on.
No, that's right, mate. Thanks for mentioning that. I was just going to move on now to the talking about your own community that you've set up. Is it Fathers in Focus? Is that correct?
Fathers of Focus, yeah.
Of Focus. Oh, I see.
Yeah, tell us about that, then, Dan.
Yeah. So I mean, I've always loved sort of teaching and trying to bringing people together and helping people. Like I guess the reason why I went for commercial photography in the first place was I've always loved sort of the idea of running a business and running a business and all that sort of things. I decided, so I did start doing a few weddings and stuff right at the beginning, and then decided to go commercial and then went to the industrial. And part of the reason for that was that I wanted to hang around with people that were running their businesses and learn about that, because it's just something that's always fascinated me. So the business side of it has always been of a lot of interest to me, at least as much as the photography.
Yeah.
And what I found is that, a lot of people obviously get into photography because they love the photography, and then they realize, I've got to run a business as well. And they don't feel so confident on that side of things. So the idea of the community is to help build confidence in the business side of what we do. Because I think in fact, I just put a poll on LinkedIn this week about it to see what people thought balance was. And I think it's definitely 50-50. In terms of shooting and business, it's some people are going as high as sort of like 80-90% business and 10% photography. So it shows the kind of split. So the idea of the community really was to bring people together and to help build confidence in that side of things. Because I like a niche, I wanted to make it niche and specific, and I've noticed how that chimes with the right people when I've had conversations with people. So it's aimed at family focused men, so maybe their dads, maybe not. The
and
reason
so,
I did
Dan,
that,
just to confirm, we're talking family focused in terms of their life, not their photography.
Sorry, yeah. That's a very good good point. Yeah, because it's for commercial photographers and videographers.
Okay.
But yeah, in terms of their life, because for me, a big part of changing careers, like I really wasn't happy in my engineering job. I got to the point where I just lethargic when I came back from a day sitting in front of spreadsheets all day. I think I even got to the point where I just wanted to drive my car off the side of the road on the way there. It's like, I didn't want to. But a big part of the motivation for changing careers for me, apart from that, was to teach my kids a good example and show them that, I didn't have to sit in a job that I hated for the rest of my life, which, sadly, too many people do.
Yeah.
So I guess I wanted to make the group as specific to my own experience as possible, so I could add as much value to people and, help those people that are, feel in a similar way.
I do applaud you, Dan, in picking up a niche that, or not only a group of people that probably aren't really that represented that much in, I don't know, in photography, but in sort of education or as a target market in some way. So, you've already outlined why you are doing that, because that's obviously who you empathise with. But can you just tell me a little bit more, any other reasons for that? Was it to go against the establishment?
I think the first reasons, as I was going through it in my head, were make this as specific as possible to my own experience so I can add as much value.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's a group that I want to support as well, and I think there's an element of that as well, Marcus, in that I think we are slightly underrepresented because, quite rightly, obviously, minority groups and everything get represented all the time, and as they should do. I'm not sort of, I'm not like anti anyone or anything like that. It's just a case of trying to help people that are in a similar position to me, and I think maybe don't get represented as much as maybe they should.
Cool. And then if people want to find out more about it, what can they do?
So they can head to the website. Again, we've got a new website coming out, which hopefully will be launched by the time this goes out. I'm not sure when this is going out, but
next week.
It's is it? Okay, probably won't be. It's fathersoffocus.com. So you can head there or head to my LinkedIn, where I'm posting about it quite regularly.
That was a fantastic chat with Dan, offering some truly actionable advice. So just to recap, for our listeners, here are the 3 things we've learned today. First, we heard the key secret to niching. You can be a specialist in your market without limiting the type of work you actually take on. Second, we learned the power of a client-focused website, particularly how Dan structures his about page to bring in high-value commercial photographer clients. And finally, you heard why niching is the ultimate strategy for business growth and the only way to escape the low-price competition trap.
And don't forget that you can get for free the Commercial Photographer Guide to Creativity and Marketing. After all, that's what this show is all about. To get your free download, all you need to do is go to our website at commercial-photographer-podcast.com/creativity. Let me do that one again. commercial-photographer-podcast.com/creativity. And from there, you can get your free guide from us to marketing and creativity. Excellent. And we'll put all of those links in the show notes for everybody. That is brilliant, Dan. We are getting about to time. But yeah, loads and loads of interesting things there about your business and marketing and photography, all sorts of things. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing so much with our listeners.
No, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. It was an honour to be invited.
Oh, mate, thanks for that, Dan. I'd love you to see you again, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers.
See you next week, Sam.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. If you want to make sure you never miss a show, head to the website commercial-photographer-podcast.com and sign up to the newsletter. We'll be back next week with more practical advice to help you grow your business. See you next time.